These are on. These are working.
And we're on the record.
Okay, we have this, tonight is a workshop. It is February 20th, 6:30 PM, Board of Finance, Town of Southington. Tonight, we are in the workshop mode, so it's not a formal meeting, and we are going to hear from a couple of key departments regarding the budget. We're going to go in order. Community Services first, Town Clerk, Planning and Building, Library and Barnes Museum, and end with the Police Department tonight. And then on February 25th, we'll come back, have another workshop, and we'll do assessor and tax collection. We'll do the Recreation Department, Youth Services and Senior Services. We'll do Public Works and the Fire Department. So we had tried to videotape these, but we can't get a videographer, so we're going to do our best to record them. Okay, so who's first? Janet? Community Services. Just talk loud into the microphone so we pick it up on the recording.
Thank you, and it's
Thank you.
always a pleasure to hear key departments.
Oh, how did you get in this one? All right. You are a key department.
Thank you. So one of the things I'll start with were the questions that you usually ask, and what does our department do for the town? What services do we provide? And what people may not know that we provide. So Community Services helps with rent or mortgage payment to stop an eviction or a foreclosure if it's possible. We have a food pantry that's 40 hours a week. We do the state energy assistance applications, which costs the town nothing. It's a state program. We are actually able to get into the portal of Eversource. So if someone needs to get on 50% reduction for electricity, if they need to get on any programs, they could come to our office. They have to bring proof of income and their electric bill, and we can do it directly from our office. We can stop a shut-off, if it's possible, directly from our office. So it makes it much more convenient instead of calling their supplier. We help people apply for any state programs, the medical savings programs, SNAP, Husky. We help them fill out paperwork, whether if they come in, they're trying to get an apartment and they're not sure how to fill out the application, we'll fill it out for them. We have a clothing, we provide clothing. So we have what we call the closet in the back room. It's gently used in brand new clothes. It's got shoes, winter coats, work outfits, clothes for children. We do scholarships for sports programs for the high schools and grammar schools. We also do scholarships for the camp with the Department of Recreation. It could be as simple as we could have somebody come in, they got a letter in the mail and they don't understand what the letter says. They bring it in, we'll read them the letter, we'll explain what happened, what we can do for them. Residents usually come during their time of need, and we can either assist them, and if we can't, we can direct them where they should go. We're the Fair Housing Officer I'm the Fair Housing Officer and the Relocation Officer, which is two important parts for the town. I could be called 24/7 by police, health, fire, and I would go there and represent the town. And we've done that very successfully. We're on call for any emergencies with any of those departments. And that's a lot of the things we do would be confidential, so we don't like to talk about it. I'll give you one quick example without saying anything. On my way here, I got a call from the police department, and they had a little situation. It's something that we can't do right now, but it's a program we'll start in the future for emergencies. So working with the other towns, we said, what can we do to make life easier for Southington residents? And that's what we do. Now, cost control. We've perfected that.
But you're working with volunteers too, right?
Oh, yeah, that's
It's
what I'm most proud of. That's what I'm going to talk about.
Okay,
That's when I
okay.
bring that up. But cost control, so Friends of Southington Community Services was formed 10 years ago. It's a 501c3. I was at a town department head meeting, and I said, how come all these people are getting grants and we can't? They said, just get a group to be a 501c3, and it's worked out wonderful for us. So Friends, in the last couple of years, has purchased a generator for the office, and it's not so much keeping the computers and the lights on. We have a lot of money invested in our freezers. So they purchased a generator, they purchased a freezer, they purchased a refrigerator. Currently, they're paying for most of the meat because it's not available at Food Share. And they've also paid for some grounds work.
Where do they get their money?
Donations. They do 2 or 3 fundraisers a year. They just had one, Sip and Shop. They made $4,500, and the person who they did it with asked for us to buy food, so we bought $4,500 worth of food that's going to be delivered next week. We have to call Highway. They're going to pick it up from pallets at Walmart. Was the best price we could get. Also, businesses and factories donate equipment and supplies at no cost to our office. If you go see all our desks and all our chairs, those are all from different businesses that closed, so we were able to do that. They actually donate their leftover office supplies, which we use. So we have never increased our office supply budget in, I think, 15 years because we're very fortunate. The most important thing for cost control is the flexibility of both our volunteers and our part-time employees, which enables us to provide services at all times, and especially when most needed, without using overtime. And we're very proud of that. Volunteer staff programs as the food pantry. And last year we took in a little over 540,000 pounds of food. They staff the reception front desk. They do a lot of the yard work. They staff the closet. We had just over 3,122 visits at the closet for clothes and sleeping bags and blankets. Operation Stay Warm. We distributed by the end of December 817 coats. We continue to distribute coats. All the coats were donated by the citizens and the businesses of Southington. We did a coat white tag sale, a town-wide coat drive, and all the coats were donated. The prom shop, last year we were able to give out 77 gowns, 26 short dresses, and 5 suits, and those were all donated. The volunteers also run programs at the Southington Armory. They sort donations, and they do a lot with the holiday programs. They're invaluable. What I'm most proud of, and this is really, really touches me, our team. 148 people strong, 4 full-time employees, 10 part-time seasonal employees, and 134 volunteers. Also supporting this team, and this is very important, the finance board, the town council, the town manager, all the different town departments in the Board of Ed. They're also the Calvin East Foundation, the United Way of Southington, the Main Street Foundation, the Greater Foundation of New Britain, and the Salvation Army. They all donate money and support us. The Clergy Association and all the churches. The civic groups in Southington, such as Unico, Lions, Rotary, Knights of Columbus, they're always there when we need them. Southington Elks Club, the Southington Polish Falcons, the Sons of Italy. I could go on and on. Businesses. The Paula Furniture Store throughout her years has donated more furniture than people would ever imagine to people who were homeless, got into an apartment. She was able to donate furniture. We're setting up our prom program. She came to see it and donated furniture to make it look festive. Just for You Gifts is always donating to us. So businesses, factories, CCOG, Walmart, Webster Bank sends us volunteers. We are probably the most fortunate department in this town. And I just can't think. I got another call. I called Dave LaPrey. I said, Dave, I need a favor. This is how nice we work with the different town departments. He goes, what can I do? But I'm in South Carolina. I said, I still need a favor. And he pulled through. So we have a great town, great teamwork.
Sounds like you need a big truck.
We have 2 trucks in a van, paid for by friends. And the Rotary Club paid for our truck, but they paid for 2 vans. So I left notes.
Can I, Mr. Chairman?
Yeah.
Can you just touch on, you have a couple of large increases. I know I've talked to them. I've had concerns about the increases. Can you even let the board talk about the temp seasonal increases, the the reason behind that, and then the building maintenance, I think those jump out at folks.
Okay, so last January when I did the budget, I didn't know we were gonna have 2 increases in minimum wage, which is July and January. So I did the budget at the minimum wage at that time. So when the fiscal year started, there was a raise, and then in January, there was another increase. So we didn't have enough money in the budget to pay our seasonal. Luck would have it, someone had to leave. I did not replace that person until the next fiscal year because I didn't wanna ask for an increase. So the budget is the same, it's just that minimum wage went up twice, there was no increase. And the other one is the building maintenance. We moved there in 2008, and we've never asked for extra money to fix the building. We've been able to maintain it pretty much. We have 4 or 5 big issues that we need to work on. In that price, there's gonna be a lot of volunteer work, a lot of donations, and we're gonna be able to make major changes in and outside the building, and they're much needed changes. We have a fence that just fell apart that we have to fix. Food share came in, we have an audit every 2 years, and we have to do one more thing in the pantry, it's a new regulation. Going down one set of stairs, there's not a railing, which has to happen, it's, part of building code. We have to replace a sink in one of the bathrooms. We hopefully will have a group come in and volunteer and paint the entire back room at no cost. So we have other things going on that won't cost the town anything, but we have never asked for it, and it's been since 2008.
Specifically the brick pavers in the front, what's going on there?
So that's part of the budget. We have to rebuild the dirt, have someone come in and just fix that whole, you're talking about with
So the base, you gotta do the base.
just on one side of it.
Was it uneven, unsafe kind of thing?
No, it will be if it's not addressed. And then the actual ramp going up, that has to be, so that was all put in for no cost to the town in 2008. And they put the handrails too close to the edge. So we've been playing with that since 2008, having somebody come in and just try to fix it. And that's important because you have wheelchairs going up and you have to make sure. So both the pavers and the ramp are things that are not a problem now, but will be very soon if they're not addressed.
And you do a wonderful job, thank you.
Thank you.
Your whole department.
We have a wonderful team. We have the best team ever in place right now.
And Southington's a great place to live. So.
Best place. And, well, actually, what I was gonna say, what I'm most proud of, and I forgot the last one, is the very generous Southington residents. You just have to say one thing, and they'll come through. There's no town like that in all of Connecticut.
Yeah, what I really like about the whole thing is it's a good government-private partnership. It's like the perfect example, where we provide the shell and it keeps everything under control at a minimum, and then all of the stuff that's handed out comes from people to people in various avenues like you described. I think that's one of the best models we could have.
Thank you.
Now, when you help us understand, you're doing food, and then there's Bread for Life doing food. Who does what? What's the?
So they're not a
missions?
food pantry, we're a food pantry. So
Okay.
people come in and get groceries, they cook them themselves. They go home, it's a supplement. Bread for Life is they feed people lunch, and they deliver to homebounds prepared meals. So they do prepared meals, we do the actual food pantry.
Okay.
Totally different. They're open for an hour for meals. Our food pantry's open 40 hours a week. No appointment necessary, and you're never gonna wait more than 5 or 10 minutes.
Okay. So different operations, different missions.
Totally different.
The paperwork you do, you're helping people who have limited abilities or struggle or whatnot in filling out the paper. So your staff figures it all out for them?
Correct.
They come in with something in an envelope and you open it and say, what have we got here?
Correct.
And you try and sort it for them.
Wayne.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think you mentioned the amount of food, but what other, do you have any other metrics in terms of the number of people serviced?
Okay, our numbers currently are almost 900 families, not individuals, that are coming into the food pantry.
And how does that compare to previous years, or what's the trajectory been?
It's always gonna be the same. It's gonna go between 700 and 1,000.
Okay,
And that has to do with the population here and their income, because everything is income-based. And food share, where we buy our food, determines the income.
okay. Well, again, thank you for everything.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
pleasure working for this town.
Yeah, Jenna, thanks for everything you and your department does, your staff, and the
Wonderful
volunteers in
staff.
Southington, yeah.
Thank
And if you need anything during the year, don't be
I
afraid
know,
to
you
come
show up
to
and ask
the
if we,
Board of Finance.
there's so many people here that I could call and they would do just about anything.
Is there anything we're not doing? You talked about so many things, sometimes it's a blur. You're saying we're doing this, that, and the other thing, it's wonderful. Is there something we're missing? Is there a service where we couldn't engage in, or something we're not providing? Is there, in this whole list of every single thing you do?
If it comes up, we do it.
Okay.
Like tonight with the call with the police officer, it's something we're gonna do. And I said to her, the next time you call, we will be able to do this. So, unless it comes up, and if it does come up, we make it happen.
You just figure it out, find a way.
We've never had a problem doing that. And I've always stayed within my budget. If I don't have it, I'm not gonna use it. I'm not gonna do what I need, you know.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank
Thank you.
everybody,
Yeah.
every one of the volunteers for us.
Yeah, and I want, especially Alex actually comes for our quarterly cupcakes
Nice.
for volunteers, and they're so happy to see the town manager. They're in shock, and they really said, this is such a wonderful town that he comes to see us, so.
Quarterly cupcakes. You need to
Yes.
put
Yeah, yeah.
six more of those out.
Cupcakes, you never wonder for the cupcakes.
Well, one of our volunteers just loves it, and she wants to show
That's
her
great.
appreciation, and she makes cupcakes for all the volunteers.
Very nice.
Nice.
It's great.
It is.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jenna.
I just go for
Take it
snacks.
Okay, next on track, town clerk. Kathy.
Okay, good evening. Just a little overview on our office. I think most of you know Land Record Recordings, that's our major revenue producer, with recording of deeds and collection of conveyance taxes. We also maintain all vital records. Indexing, that includes indexing, scanning, microfilming, microfilm storage, on all our, that would include land records, all our vital records, minutes and agendas. We issue certified copies of all those vitals. We issue marriage licenses, dog licenses, fishing and hunting permits and licenses, burial permits. We file trade names, liquor permits. We're the records retention liaison for other departments. We assist them in the storage or maintenance of their records. And at time of destruction, we take care of that through special revenue monies. We have 2 storage rooms in this building that we maintain, keep an inventory of, besides our own vault. We perform notary services for the public. And one of our other big duties is working along with the elections department with planning the elections. The town clerk is in charge of preparing ballots for all elections, primaries, and referendums, and the issuing of absentee ballots. That's one thing that is going to be changing probably next year. This past year, it was voted for no excuse absentee balloting. For right now, the Secretary of State with her team is developing guidelines and procedures. They're investigating with other states how they handle no excuse absentee balloting, so that's still in process. We don't know what that's gonna look like yet. And what we're hoping is that they're taking this year to do that research before they come up with a plan. And it'll be implemented, what we understand, next year. So that will mean many more absentee ballots. Like I said, we don't know what that's gonna look like yet, how fast
Have you
that
ever
will catch up.
refused anybody a ballot?
Have we ever
Have refused anybody a ballot?
an absentee ballot?
Yeah,
If they did not fit the criteria of what it is now. You have to have an excuse
okay.
at this point. So if there's an illness, you're out of town, you work out of town, you're on vacation, you're a poll worker, you're in the military, so there's certain criteria at this point to get an absentee ballot. That will change, that anyone can apply for one. So back in around 2000 or so is what we would issue, I believe, for a presidential election, which is always the busiest election. Back in 2020, when it was during COVID, the Secretary of State had applications sent to all registered voters, and we had close to 10,000 at that time. And I had to hire a crew of people to assist with that. Postage will definitely go up because each ballot probably cost, with the way postage keeps going and the weight of the all the materials in that envelope, it's somewhere around $1 or just over $1 for each of those envelopes to be mailed out. So, as I said, we don't know what that's going to look like yet, but that is coming very soon.
Kelly, just out of curiosity, of the 10,000 that you sent out, how many came back?
Oh, I do not have those numbers.
I'm just curious. Not
Yeah,
big.
yeah, I don't have those numbers
Okay.
off the top of my head. But other things that we do, I am, every year there are targeted grants put out by the state of Connecticut, and I apply for the historic document preservation targeted grants. What I've been doing these past few cycles is use that money to have our land record, the land records that are not available online, the images online, I'm having those scanned and uploaded to our system. So it's easier and easier for lawyers, title searchers to do their searches from home. And at this point, they usually just stop in when they have to get older records, or they order them online. So trying to get some more history so that it has more available to anyone, the homeowners or the business people that access those records. Other projects that I have done is restoration projects for our 17 and 1800 land record books. Of course, they're not on archival paper, they're deteriorating. So I've been doing restoration projects for those to have them cleaned and preserved and protected for years to come. And something that as Janet is, she's very proud of her staff and volunteers. I'm proud of my staff as well. We do have people that come to our office that do visit other towns, lawyers, title searchers, funeral homes, and we always get compliments from them about our friendly staff, our efficient staff, and our up-to-date records. So it's nice to hear that at times, and not just somebody complaining about something. Or so it's always nice to hear that your staff is doing well and is appreciated.
Excellent.
And I've had the opportunity to visit your office couple of times, and they've always been friendly and very helpful. So yes, kudos to them, and give them
Thank
my
you.
heart thanks for that.
I say the same thing. Everybody has a smile or hello, and People bring their dogs in there sometimes,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah,
It is a friendly place.
yeah, we have our dog cookies under the counter waiting.
Could you just give us highlights of the budget, what's going on in your budget?
Yep.
I don't have it in front of me.
Yeah, we gotta get our budget books.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've only, 2 line items, were the only increases. Wages was one, which it always happens, and the other was longevity. Someone, that joined my team, recently, has been working with the town for a number of years, so she is entitled to that longevity as well. So it was an addition of one person with the longevity. Everything else remained pretty much the same. There were 2 slight reductions with our temp seasonal and overtime. So there was a slight reduction there. But again, what the future of absentee balloting brings, I don't know how long that will last.
Thank you, though.
All right.
Any more questions, anything? Thank you, and thank everybody. I mean, that's,
I will.
let them know. Sometimes people don't feel appreciated maybe as much as they should. So let them know that we do appreciate everything, and we're not a board of ogres, but we really wanna be there and do the right thing when called upon.
I'll absolutely convey the message. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy.
Take care, Kathy.
Okay, next up, Planning and Building Department. That's
Anybody want to volunteer?
yeah, is that, where's Alex? We'll skip that one for now, we'll come back to that. Library and Barnes Museum. Am I in the wrong? No.
That's right.
Yeah, the Library and Barnes Museum, we'll have Alex do that.
And go right to the police.
We're gonna do that, chief.
Right.
Right, we're gonna skip that and go right to the police department.
Right.
Hey, what happened to,
What's this, gentleman? What-
that's IT,
Oh, IT.
but where's IT?
Just step up.
It's not on the list. Let's go to the police department, we'll go police department, then we'll go IT.
Great, thank you.
Where's IT must have been
Maybe part of
Right,
it.
late ad.
Or something?
Oh, tough time. Thanks.
Thank you for the books, we don't have our full budget books yet.
John. John.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what he did?
Yeah, yeah.
Our presentation's probably gonna be very short, because, as you'll see, our police budget is requesting a 0.21% increase. Our animal control budget is a 2.03 decrease. Central dispatch is a 0.16 increase. And we also have a part in the safety budget, which is being submitted with a 0% increase. And then emergency management, which has a total increase of $1,000, which represents 5.71%. So, we originally submitted our budgets with great initiatives, but I've been here long enough that I know when I'm told, it's a tough year. I've heard it for 23 years.
Every year's been a tough year?
Every year's been a tough year.
I don't believe that.
This year, I see it. I was actually shown things that I get it. So, we came in, of course, the union contract isn't settled, so that accounts for that it's so low. Some of the questions that we were asked, what do we do? The mission of the Southington Police Department is to protect and serve the community, in addition to enforce laws and ordinances, provide information and/or direction to people in need, and to promote a feeling of safety and security for all members of the community. The Southington Police Department will work in cooperation with the community to preserve and improve the quality of life, making the town a safer, more pleasant place to live, work, and visit. That basically tells you what we do. We do a lot of things to help anyone and everyone. That's our job. We believe we're the go-to town agency when anyone, whether it's an employee of this town or a citizen needs something, they call us and we're there to help in many, many ways. Something innovative we do to control costs. We continuously look at our budget throughout the fiscal year, looking for ways to do things better, to do things more efficient. And we understand that you can't budget for those oh my God moments. We budget for the staff we need, and we're not afraid to ask for, we have mutual aid compacts with surrounding towns, with the Hartford County region, with the Western region. So it's all about teamwork, and that's the way we work. What is something you do or service you provide that many folks may not be aware of? I don't know if people realize how much our guys do in this town to help the other town departments. Like I said, in my opinion, we're the go-to agency in town, and we go out of our way to assist. We helped recently the finance department as they were going through the changes in the payroll. So we're not afraid to roll up our sleeves. You'll never hear from one of my employees that's not my job. Everything is our job. That's our opinion of our police department. One of the benefits is that I would say probably 70%, if not more, of our officers live in our town. And having great employees that I do, because we can't budget for those oh my God moments, when we pick up the phone, guys come in and help. That's how we're able, that's the way we're able to, like that, Alex?
You're gonna call Ed back in if you need him?
If he could make it in, or we'll get him there. We have a bus, we can pick him up. And what are we most proud of about our department is the relationship we have with this town, with the fellow employees, with my employees. I couldn't be any prouder. We have a good mixture of young and old officers. We hire the best of the best. We don't just hire for the sake of having a body. We want the best of the best, and that's what makes us, I've been chief for 23 years. I'm the senior chief in the state of Connecticut, and I know all the other chiefs in this state, and they're all envious of this town, the support we get, and our officers. So that's where I have to say I'm most proud of my officers and the community support. They and my officers understand it too, because recently you gave us safety and security monies. We appreciate things like that. We know we're not stupid. We know this is going to be a bad budget year. We get it. Would we love to have a lot more? Yeah, but we know when you have it, you give it to us. So.
What keeps you up at night? Is there something you're in the back of your head you're thinking?
Oh, I think continuously. Sadly, I never shut it down. I worry about every officer on every call. The job of policing isn't when Eddie started or when I was a young officer. It's a totally different job now, and I worry about my cops, even though I got the best department in the state, in my opinion. I look at other departments. I was listening to a story today about another department and all the woes they have, and I worry about if a guy calls in sick, stupid things like that, and other departments have major problems that, knock on wood, we don't have here in Southington, because we hire the best, and that is truly probably the most important thing. And because Southington is so revered but statewide, we get a lot of quality applicants, and we don't have to settle for less than the best.
So we're still able to attract and retain with where we are, with MERS, with,
We have lost a few,
because our fault or just,
they went for the money.
all right?
More money. One town out there is giving outrageous money, and they're giving take-home cars. Would I love to give take-home cars to all my cops? Would I love to be the top-paid department in the state? Absolutely. But I'm also a realist. The people we lost, because we hire a lot of people who are, like I said, 70% probably live in this town. The other 30% wish they could afford to live in this town, because it's such a great town. The two that we lost, one moved and lives in New Milford and works for New Milford Police Department. The other one lived further away, over an hour away to get to work every day, and he left and moved, took a department that was halfway in between, and he got the take-home car and everything else. So it's not often that we lose people, but every once in a while we do.
But you think we're still able to attract and retain, outside of a couple of odds, one-off situations, we're still
It's
the place to be in a
it's-
competitive
It's a
package?
continuous fight, and we're watching it on a regular occurrence. We're trying to give our officers more opportunities at different job that they do while they're working, so it's something, like I said, we evaluate on a daily, weekly basis the monies we spend, how we make the job good for our officers and great for the community.
Chief, I had a question. Were you guys looking to hire 4 new people, but only hired 1 just recently?
We were looking to hire 2.
2?
Because we're too short.
Okay.
We have one starting the academy in March. The other position, we didn't have the quality people we wanted, so we held off.
All right.
We're gonna have 3 vacancies at the end of June that we believe they're leaving before MERS changes over. And so, we're continuously looking at certifieds. We're looking to incentivize to make people want to come here with time on. And so, like I said, it's something we look at continuously, but we're not gonna hire someone that we don't feel are up to Southington standards.
Okay.
And I'm sure you're not the only department that's having troubles filling spots.
Oh, no. I listen to other town, there's a town in the northwest sector of the state that they have 90-something officers, and they're down to like 70-something. So it's the policing field is totally different. The people are coming in, don't know if they want to work. You know, it's just a harder job to fill.
And there was a change in attitude. I don't think you see that in Southington as much as you do in other parts of
Oh,
the
absolutely
state.
not.
But-
That's what I mean. People want to come to Southington, especially, and we want them if they're certified, because we save money in the training and everything. Because the academy now is 6 months, and it's 6 months with 10-hour days. They go every other Saturday, so we have to pay them overtime while they're in the academy. Then 6 months, and they have another 4 months, 3 or 4 months of field training. So if I hire someone today, if they're not certified, it takes me almost a year to get them on the road.
And you guys don't always show up at a time when it's good for the citizen that you're showing up for an ambulance call, some kind of accident or something like that. And you always handle that very professionally. Thank you for that. I mean, that's it.
Because our guys are top notch.
Do you get a sense of appreciation? Because it seems like every call you go on is never, like Wayne is trying to say, it's never a pleasure, right? Somebody's in a mess. Somebody's either in the middle of a medical emergency, they're in a car accident, they're in
You gotta
a
look at
dangerous
You gotta
situation.
look at that positively. If you go on the medical call, you Narcan them and you save a life, that makes you feel good. If you go up to a car accident, if you save someone, if you take appropriate action, so, you know, you give a warning instead of a speeding ticket and the person, slows down, that's what we're trying to do, slow people down and just,
Please.
guys gotta stay positive.
Do you have that page in here that shows all the different calls you go on? Did you put that in here? Because one thing I learned, and I don't think a lot of people know it, is that the police are the first medical responders.
Yep,
So when you call 911 for a medical, it's a police officer who's going to show up with the bag and run into the house likely first.
yep. That's where the supplemental first responders, so we're the first ones there.
And then I didn't realize how much Narcan you administer. Where
Sadly, yes.
some new officers couldn't tell you how many times they've used it. And they could tell you, you know, anytime they use their taser, they probably remember that for years. But Narcan, it's
I'd
so
rather-
often that
I'd rather them use Narcan than
I understand.
tase every.
No, I didn't mean an analogy that way, but I'm saying that you would remember if you tase somebody, that would stick in your memory for a long time, because we don't tase people. You had said one time maybe 2 a year on average, if that. But Narcan is
It's becoming,
a frequent
Everyday
occurrence where
occurrence.
nobody can even keep track of how much Narcan they've administered in their head. I mean, it's great stuff that it works, but being the first medical responder, I don't know if people realize that it is the police department that responds first to medicals.
they're like the jack of all trades, a master of none. The cops are just good at a lot of things. And we have a good mix of young officers and some certifieds that are a little older, so it's a good balance.
So did I understand you as saying that you haven't put any increase in pay in here because the union contract is still
Right.
being negotiated?
I believe that's in town manager's
So we're
line.
taking care of that in another area?
I have that in a line item.
Okay. And I see you do a small breakdown of the overtime. Thank you for that. The largest use of job function, of overtime is job function. And maybe you could expand on that a little more, if you would, please.
Okay.
It's on page 24. You just talk about overlapping shifts, and I'm sure there's a lot more to it than that.
Job function.
So if you flip to page 25, I think what you're referring to is the graph there as far as specialized units, job function, crime prevention, and leave replacement. So we have a very robust scheduling system. Part of that scheduling system has different overtime codes. So anytime a motorcycle officer drives a motorcycle on parade, it's a separate motorcycle code. Anytime a SWAT team has training, it's SWAT team training code. Anytime there's training that's a post-mandate, that'll be a separate training code. So basically, all of our codes, there's probably about 60, 70 of them. I grouped into job functions, leave replacement, specialized unit, and special events, crime prevention, and then premium holiday pay, just to get kind of a higher level overview of basically where the dollars are going. Job function is going to be Officer A responds to a crime in progress, it's a burglary. His shift ends at 5 o'clock, but it's 4:45. He has to investigate that crime. We do have overlapping shifts, so the person that's scheduled to work longer will usually be primary on that call to avoid paying that extra amount of overtime. A large part of this is training. It's, I don't know, probably once a month we get another general notice from the state of Connecticut saying this is now mandated training.
Which is unfunded mandates, which states.
We're well aware of unfunded mandates.
a lot of that job function as well is just maintaining our certification. So every 3 years, we have to attend a certain number of hours in order to even be police officers within the state of Connecticut. More recently, we had a change in our training officer. That training officer came from Milltown Police Department, had a really great background, is doing really great work, trying to switch a lot of that training to on-duty training to actually increase and go above and beyond what the state minimums are. I'm all on board with the chief. My biggest fear is that I get a phone call at night saying one of our officers was seriously injured or shot or something. I want them all to be extremely well prepared and feel well prepared in the job that they do.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, how about, where would it show up if you're, someone calls in sick and you have to replace that officer, or you have an opening and you have to replace?
Yep, that would be leave replacement.
Oh, that's under leave replacement.
Yeah, so that'd be sick time, vacation time, so like a supervisor, like a master sergeant that runs the actual shift at night, he has to be replaced, so if he uses a vacation day, we have to backfill that with overtime. FMLA time, replacement for that, funeral time, personal days, or training during
Any
normal
kind of leave
schedules.
kind of thing, yeah. Okay. And that really isn't one of the bigger areas, really. I mean, it's the third biggest, but still.
No,
Yeah.
it was a bit of an eye-opener for me, because I thought, you know, a lot of our overtime was different than my perception, but once I actually put it in Power BI and looked at the numbers, there isn't a whole lot of discretion there. You know,
Right.
we have to be certified
No.
police officers, we have to go on calls, we have to investigate calls, we can't just pack up and say, we'll check it out
Shift's
tomorrow.
over, yeah. And you know what, I've had that happen to me in Hartford, so.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I will say you'll get different police experiences
Yeah.
from all around the state of Connecticut. I live in town, my whole family lives in town, I'm very proud of our police service that we give everybody.
Thank you.
Chief, can I ask you, how are, just in a broad sense, our building, you talked about the people a lot, so we understand we got good people. Our buildings and our equipment, how are we? Are we A&A? Where are we on buildings and equipment?
Ever since that building was.
One building, yeah, one big building.
Ever since it was built, we've had problems with the HVAC system. Every year we seem to be replacing something. This year we're getting a chiller replaced. That started, we had to order it 9 months ago. It's supposed to be coming in within the next month, and that's what, 180,000? It's outrageous amount of money for that chiller. And we keep everything running. My office was 50-something degrees the other day, so we have to call someone in to fix whatever motor isn't working. So that's why one of the reasons we did go up a little bit in building maintenance. The buildings was built in 2004, so you're looking at 21 years old. Electronic doors, every once in a while one of those goes, and everything's so expensive. The cost of repairing this stuff is outrageous. So, but we work with the Board of Ed. They have HVAC guys that will come down and help us occasionally when they're not busy. But that's the one thing about, we help others in this town. They help us too. It's a good team. And
Vehicles and other stuff, we'll call it, other equipment, okay?
vehicles, we asked for one extra this year, and it was cut. We have our fleet is probably 50 vehicles. We replace 4 a year. What a lot of those vehicles are used for just road jobs, so they take in revenue for the town. So we call them our disposable fleet. If something major goes wrong with them, we just junk them, because they have 100,000 plus miles on them, and with idle time, that's more like 300,000 miles. So we're not gonna replace a motor in a car that is only a road job car. So that's why we have such a big fleet. When we get these cars that we get in each fiscal year, they go right to the line officers, the cruisers on the road where they need them the most.
Chief, I'm curious, you mentioned it earlier, you mentioned it before about just policing being different, and, you know, being on the board, I'm aware of a lot of the technology, whether it's, you know, equipment or other things that have been brought into policing or our police department. I'm curious, I guess, as much as you can share, what's next with respect to technology, whether it's software, it's equipment, and again, if you can share this, is there anything that that you would suggest doing with respect to that we don't have the money for?
We saw at a trade show, it's called Drone as a First Responder. It's incredible. They're trying it out, I think, in New York City, out west and everything, where these drone hubs sit on top of their dispatch area. When they get a call for shots fired in progress, a drone, someone enters something, takes off from, flies to the scene, looks to see if it's a real legitimate call. So you got eyes in the sky before the officers even get there. It's incredible. It's huge money.
Yeah. But that's the future.
Yeah, that's what the future
That's
is all
probably a fight
about.
war now, right?
We are
crime
the
rate?
envy.
What's the difference?
We're the envy of the state with our flock camera system.
Okay.
Those license plate readers, everyone thinks, oh, it's for stolen cars. We had a case where an officer went on a lady who was gonna commit suicide. He entered the car that she left the house in. She had left a note for her daughter that she was gonna kill herself. Found the car on the flock system. It was right near a location in town. Everyone flocked there. Everyone went there, and they located her as she was about to pull in a garage to kill herself. They saved a life. That flock system is incredible, and we get calls from all other towns. Hey, can you run this in your flock system? See if you had this car. Solve the Waterbury murder. It's incredible, and our guys love it. And I don't know how to use it, but because I'm the old
guy.
I have trouble typing.
Hey, Chief, don't look now, but people are laughing behind you.
It's probably Mitch. But that's one thing
That's
that
one thing, okay.
our younger cops love this stuff.
Yeah, sure.
It lets them be real cops still.
Sure. Okay.
And a lot of towns are telling their guys, just go out and stay out of trouble. Our cops are still cops, and our people love that.
So what does a drone cost that you were talking about around?
What was the price?
350.
Wow. Was that much?
Per year.
Per year?
It's not
Oh, it's a lease thing?
Because they provide support to integrate with your CAD, with your GIS, so it's just all hands off until you want to put a pilot on it.
And as good as, I say this, as good as the flock system is, it's not like this flock system could replace our cops. You still need the boots on the ground to do the work. The flock system is a great tool to help them do their job, but it's our quality cops that are actually making it as successful as it is.
Okay. So you don't have the smaller drones that are.
Yeah, we have.
You do have those.
We
That's
do
what I
have
thought.
drone, but
Right.
it's not all. We go to scenes like we've had missing people.
Yeah.
And it's
Fly
but
over.
it's one person that flies it.
Yeah. Okay.
We have a smaller drone that when our ERT team goes out on sun, they can put it in a house and it can fly around the house so people
Yeah.
cut down on
Okay.
someone getting hurt.
How has paperwork changed? I don't, the amount of paperwork for a call. And how, I know it's gone up, but how, at what rate is it going up? Did it level off? Is it still?
I think it's still huge, right? It's for one domestic arrest, it's just, this is a state mandated form. This is a state mandated form. This, you gotta write this report, you gotta write, you can't put the person's name in, so you gotta redact everything. It's the paperwork, a simple bark and dog complaint, that's easy now. They just type on their computers in their cars, but when they actually make an arrest, it's a considerable amount of paperwork. Much more so when
when Ed,
Eddie and I were real cops.
real cops.
Anything else you gotta let us know about? Or, we'll do that, we'll have that meeting again once a year, we'll come in and 3 and 3 and just get briefed.
If the state finds any money, feel free to, we'll be happy to help you.
I'll put it, you and the fire department fight over it, we'll put it in the middle and see who can get at it first.
They have
I
guns.
think I'd win. Just saying. Okay.
Thank you guys, thank you.
Thank you,
Captain.
department.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But I'm covering for building and planning, so
All
I
right.
can go put that at the end.
Yeah.
And then, but Mitch is, Prime IT is here too.
Yeah, he wasn't on the list, so we weren't.
Jim put him in, I think he's had a new updated one, I hope he's had an updated one. But he was
Well,
supposed to go-
I have an older
Oh,
one.
you have it?
He's up next week.
Okay, yeah, he's.
Yeah, well,
He was
Mitch.
announced in the beginning.
He's been here since the beginning. He's getting hungry. He wants to go home.
Mitch, you're learning a lot about the other departments.
Yeah, I
Oh,
got,
yeah,
I got your budget.
yeah, so you're like Mitch, you don't need the paper.
What's that? No, I do want the paper, but I have your email up. Yeah, okay, thanks. I do want the paper.
Alex,
please.
we're older, we
Thank
like
you.
the paper.
Or I want the book, I'm
This is
sorry.
3 cents a page, I don't like printing it out.
No, I'm sorry, the book, yeah.
We're saving money in the book this year, $18 a book instead of printing it by hand, so we're
Okay.
saving a lot of money.
Hi, so my name is Mitchell Gugliotti. I'm the new Director of Technology and GIS for the town. Used to be called the IT Director, so there's a little change that happened. So what does my department do for the town? The IT department is responsible for managing and supporting all technology needs across the town. While many people first think of computers or email, our role extends far beyond these tools. We oversee a wide range of essential systems, including security, HVAC, access control, as well as complex IT infrastructure, both in the cloud and on premises. We safeguard the town's data and communications from external threats, and most importantly, we listen to and support users throughout the organization, helping them meet their technology needs and maintain maximum efficiency. Something innovative that we're currently looking into is we are looking at a train-the-trainer approach to departmental-wide training and also organizational-wide training. So what this is sending a select amount of people to these training classes so they can come back and train other staff and also develop internal self-guided training modules to educate others. Something that we do that many folks may not be aware of, we monitor all infrastructure 24/7 to minimize downtime and respond to incidents as quickly as possible. We also work off hours patching servers and pushing updates to minimize downtime to the end user. Our job's really 24/7, and we hide in the shadows and make sure everybody's good to go for the morning when they come in. The thing I'm most proud of my department is my staff. We may be small, but we're mighty. Each day, we handle a significant number of requests, averaging 6 to 8 help desk tickets a day. Today, we actually got 13 due to some of the Paychex implementations that are going on. In addition to these, we manage walk-ins and cell phone calls for quick issues. Our response and resolution times are sometimes longer due to the complexity of certain tickets. Many of these challenges stem from aging hardware, which often leads to device replacements. Some quick metrics for you all. We have 122 desktops on the town side, not counting the PD. 18 of them are not HPs, so I wasn't able to look into the age before this meeting. It's something I'm working on. But the computers I were able to look at, 9 have active warranties, which indicate they've been purchased within the past 3 years. This is a no questions, full device replacement warranty from the manufacturer. So they break, we swap it out from the manufacturer, 0 cost. 77 of our computers are out of warranty, which indicates they were purchased 3 years or more ago. This is about 63% of our deployment. And 23 of them turn 3 years old mid-March next month. Our help desk tickets were about 6 to 8 tickets a day. This is our front lines, our response to all the users submitting help requests to IT. Our first response to a lot of these tickets is over a day. It's about a day and 8 hours. So these are people waiting for help, potentially not able to do their job depending on the level of severity of the request. and our average close time at this point is 1 month. A lot of these numbers are a little inflated because we do have open tickets from my predecessor and some other things that have been going on. But as we slowly close out those tickets and new ones get open, we're able to address those at the most efficient way possible.
How many people in your department?
Just me and one other.
Very good.
Is that sufficient? Is that sufficient enough? Just 2 people?
Well, typical IT departments, companies
Oh, I
at
know.
minimum typically have like 4 or 5 people.
At least.
One person to focus on each functional area of IT. So help desk or desktop, networking, server, and development. Right now we have nobody doing internal development whatsoever. So that's building applications, either internal or external applications for staff. So that way we don't have to buy software.
And this is for both the town and the Board of Ed, right? Just
No,
no,
just
Board of
the
Ed has
town.
their own?
Yeah, the Board of Ed has their own
How many do they have?
department. I believe it's 15. I'm not exactly
Oh, okay.
certain. So a lot of my increases with my budget, I know it's a pretty substantial increase, but I want you to understand why. A lot of the software that we purchase and a lot of the infrastructure we purchase, it's not as simple as flipping a switch. We can't just take one down, put one back up, and continue like everything's fine. Unfortunately, we have to carry some of these systems and overlap for a certain period of time to ensure a smooth transition into these new systems as they update and the functionality increases. There's also a lot of aging server infrastructure, networking infrastructure, applications that are close to end of life, which means they're going to stop receiving updates from the manufacturer, posing substantial security risks. We get about 15 to 18 attempts to breach our security just about every day.
Mitch, can you talk about prior intrusions we've had, just generally, and then can you talk possibly about some of the concerns you have regarding emergency services without getting to scaring folks and the public, and kind of where we are with our end of life, with our email being end of life, and all of our software being end of life, and the security patches are just ending?
Sure, so I'll start with the software and the end of life. A lot of our things are old. They're approaching end of life. This means no more security updates, no more support from manufacturers, and also causing security risks. Email, the current system we're using is end of life October of this year, and there is no replacement for it. It's old technology that have since kind of transitioned into more cloud-based things. As far as my concerns go with some of our emergency services, a lot of things are built on single points of failure, physically as well, not only virtually through software. So this means that, if one device were to experience an issue, there's a potential that an entire building could go down for an extended period of time. Some of these devices do take about a week to procure and replace. We don't have any on hand just sitting and waiting, no hot swaps whatsoever.
Who's your cybersecurity vendor? Or do you,
Right now it's SentinelOne. That's our, I believe it's called EDR, which is on every single desktop throughout town. But we have other security measures in place. We have Zix for email, and we have a few other things that I won't go into super detail about that do some security monitoring, port filtering, intrusion detection to ensure that everything that should be on the outside stays on the outside versus getting into our network. VPNs to control access for remote or off-site work to ensure that their communication from wherever they may be to here is protected as much as possible.
I'm assuming you can't obviously provide the details, but do we have a disaster recovery plan in place?
So we do not. We do not have an official disaster recovery plan in place. We do have disaster recovery software and backup, but there's no official plan.
Do we have plans to Make a plan?
Of course.
Okay.
Of course. Amongst others, going more to the security side, there really is no security policies whatsoever. We really need to develop those as well.
Do you foresee, I mean, do you have the ability to do that yourself, or you have to work with vendors?
I believe that, yeah, I'd have to work with vendors. I could do a lot of the stuff myself, such as disaster recovery, but a lot of the security stuff I would like to ship out to some experts. Another thing that we're going to be looking into is penetration testing, and that's hiring a third-party company to come in and try and hack us.
Right.
They then provide a report giving us tips and tricks on how to prevent the hacks and harden our security a little bit further.
Yeah, that's important.
Very.
Yes, I mean, all corporations do have that.
Yes.
Do that, and it's,
Some even have internal teams,
yeah,
red versus
the
blue.
big ones, yeah.
Yeah, and some try to defend off the rest of their coworkers trying to actually hack their own network. Yeah.
Okay.
And Mitch, can you talk about some of the requests I've given you from some of your prior DOT projects, and also some of the cost savings you've done through the GIS that'll be going on with GIS?
Sure. So we are going to be making a little bit more investment into GIS this year. I believe it's like a $10,000 increase, but what that's going to solve for us is we're going to be completely self-reliant. We're going to get a little bit more licensing. Currently, the way the Esri licensing works is that it's all named users, and currently we share accounts. Technically, we're violating a EULA, which is an end user license agreement. But procuring more licenses will help that. It's also going to help us be self-hosted. It gives us the rights for unlimited viewer membership, so anybody who wants to access GIS data in the town can. We're going to be self-reliant and self-hosted. We no longer have to pay a vendor $13,000 a year just simply to host our GIS. It will be run off our own servers. Eventually, if we do explore cloud infrastructure in the future, then we will still be self-hosted, but up in the cloud instead of on-premise. Also, with the increase in licensing, it gives us more tools, more functionality. So we can build internal and external facing applications to solve a lot of general problems that were previously solved with purchasing high dollar software. So one, for example, is I'm working on building, I just finished a lot of the wireframes, and we're scheduling meetings, internal meetings to go over it. It's going to be a citizen reporting program. There'll be an external web form that citizens can use to report different problems throughout the town, such as like potholes, trees, and a few other things. We haven't hashed out all of the details yet, but we plan on including as many as we can. From there, the request comes in, and staff will be able to analyze the request in real time and create work orders, shipping it out to actual units or crews that are cruising out in the town. And they won't just be assigning it blindly. They'll be able to see the crew's location and see who's closest, who makes the most sense, who has the necessary skills to address these requests on that crew.
Do you have,
I don't know if you can answer, or Alex, what is the town's cybersecurity insurance policy? Can you give us a little
We have a rider, we have a separate additional policy in addition to our KERMA policy, which we have basic requirements that we do. The dollar wise, it's in the millions for cost. We did have I don't want to get into details, we did have an issue within a year ago, and they helped us figure some things out.
Okay.
We looked at that before.
do you have a roadmap, like a vision and a roadmap of what you're gonna do or what you plan to do in the next budget year?
I do. I don't have it with me. I planned on my next presentation for the town council on Monday, but a little insight to that. A lot of updating, focusing on networking, starting with networking, really just creating a replacement program, getting everything on a set investment schedule, so that way there are no surprises. Everything stays within the lifespan which is for a switch about 10 years. So I think if we replace it somewhere between 2 and 4 a year, which is like probably a $5,000 or $10,000 investment, we'll always be on top of like a lot of our networking infrastructure, which is great. Servers, we have a bunch of operating systems that are quite old. I don't want to say the exact years due to security reasons, but they are quite old. Some are newer, but most of them are older. So we really need to get those updated. Most of them are past end of life, and some of them are becoming end of life very, very soon. What else is there? Our Active Directory. Active Directory controls how you log into the computer and your user accounts. This version is so old that it's not cloud compatible whatsoever. Again, I don't want to share the exact version due to security reasons, but just know that it is not where it really needs to be.
So we don't have like three-way authentication, that kind of stuff?
We do have two-way multi-factor authentication
Yeah.
for a lot of the department heads, but to be honest, MFA should be enabled for more people.
Okay.
Which would go into my next point, which is security. You know, we really need to work on hardening security. We need to replace our firewalls, which are the devices that prevent people from infiltrating our network. They keep everything out that we want out and let anything in that we want in. All of our firewalls, I believe, are end of life 2028. It's either our firewalls or routers, and we have like 9 of them. So all of them need to be replaced by 2028. Putting everything on a yearly investment cycle really fixates the costs, yet still gives the town the ability to kind of stay on top of a lot of these things. That's the common theme, really, is just constant investments. A lot of it is much like a credit card. If you always make the minimum payment, you're never going to catch up. You're always going to be behind the 8 ball. We've incurred a lot of technical debt. Technical debt is when you don't make the investment that you necessarily need to, and now all these changes either cost way more than they should or take a lot longer than they should. You know, a 15-minute change or a 15-minute task now takes 8 hours because the complexity that has been created and the mess, and we need to untangle a lot of things that are happening.
That's an interesting analogy. I'll have to use it. I'll borrow it from you. I'll give you the credit. But
Appreciate it.
totally understand. It wasn't that long ago we kind of launched a big IT initiative here, and probably it seemed like it was huge, but it probably wasn't enough for where we needed to be.
Yeah, it also, a lot of my budget, we cover all software for the entire town. Not only town-wide software, but also one-off departmental software. So that's where a lot of the increases do stem. So with those increases, plus what I have in there this year is some internet. A lot of buildings are running on cable modems, 50 megabytes or less download speeds. I'm pretty sure all your houses probably surpass that. So running fiber to our key locations, and then also implementing SD-WAN architecture, which will allow us to create more secure connections from our remote sites to here without having to run physical fiber on poles.
Did I just understand that some of the software that was in the department budgets is now over here? Will we be seeing a reduction in department budgets for software?
Years ago, we pulled them out when it was
Yeah.
about, I don't know, about
So it's already
maybe
been
8
done.
years ago or
Okay.
so.
All right.
We pulled IT out of every department and centralized it.
Correct. So like the police department has $100,000 in software a year. Everything goes into the IT.
But that's part of the IT budget.
Correct. Yeah.
Correct.
So he owns
It's already been done.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah, and with software, usually there's about a 5% increase every year with it. That's just typical maintenance. Yeah,
Everything goes up.
of course.
Just one more time on I think you said the average daily number of tickets or help desk calls is, did you say 6?
6 to 8.
6 to 8. So I'm just in a given month, if there's 160 hours in a month, how many hours would you say we're spending on responding to help desk tickets or calls or requests?
That's all Richard does.
That's it,
Yeah,
100%.
100%. That's all he does, and I even jump in when I have free moments.
That's what I was kind of getting at. Like,
Yes.
so what's the total? Like, how much of your time, if you had in a given month?
A lot more than I should be doing. Probably I want to say, close quarter to a half of my month is spent doing help desk tickets, visiting sites, resolving issues.
Is there a highest and best use of time? Could some of it be outsourced to a company?
That's why I'm curious. This is probably a bigger conversation, but I mean, realistically, just coming to this without disaster recovery, without the security policies, with a lot of the hardware and software up there. I mean, if it's a 1.25 to 1.5 of 2, the math is very difficult to get to the other things.
Of course.
I mean, sorry, I'm not telling you anything you don't know.
So long term is Mitch is paid very well, and the goal is to have him doing what we pay him to do, that really high level things. Mitch and I have discussed. Richard is retiring at the end of the year, and we're talking about a strategy of possibly bringing on 2 lower compensated. Richard is at 6 figures, probably 2 younger folks right out of college, or probably some interns, and increasing the overall budget a little bit, but getting more bodies, because everything is tech.
Yeah, I mean, I do think, I mean, obviously, I mean, look, we stand here all day and talk about we can't spend money, we need to cut. I mean, this is an area where we have a significant amount of work to do, it sounds like, and it seems that it's going to be difficult, and that's helpful, I think. It seems like it's going to be difficult in kind of the current structure of the department to actually make any real headway. So this would be an area that exploring other options, it sounds like what we're doing makes a lot of sense.
And for succession planning as well.
Yes,
Just
yes, okay.
if Mitch goes,
Okay.
we're not functioning tomorrow.
No, yeah.
But there's
And
actually a
to be-
decrease in wages in your budget.
This isn't an updated one. There's an updated one.
Okay,
Yeah.
never mind.
Sorry.
Oh, and so the way it's structured now, Richard is help desk desktop. I am assigned networking and server, and also security and GIS, everything else. We do have a contractor that we do sub out work to, simply because I don't have the full expertise in networking. I do need some help there. Server, I'm perfectly fine. So yes, there is a lot of work that needs to be done. We are shorthanded.
Okay. Alex, do you think, or would we, in terms of that work, I guess I think about a restructure, we have, and I think you might have mentioned this, maybe it's what you said you're presenting, but would we have timelines established for instance, a disaster recovery plan? Would we, beyond saying we know we need to do it, would we say we're putting this deadline down?
Right now, it's difficult to establish timelines.
Understood.
Yeah, because of
yeah.
how short-handed we are. But if we start adding contractors, vendors, potentially more staff to the equation, then yeah, timelines could certainly be attached to all of these things.
And historically, we've spent a tremendous amount of money on outsourcing a lot of the work. It wasn't done in-house.
Sure.
So you'll see Mitch there's money, a change. I think we spent about $150,000 to one vendor last year. We basically outsourced our entire IT department to that vendor. So we're kind of bringing it back home.
Sure.
And kind of reworking the line items within the finance budget to get to that solution.
Understood. Yeah, and by the way, I mean, these questions, thank you for everything that you're doing.
Of course.
Yeah.
Happy to do it. Happy to be here.
Good.
We're happy to have you.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sound knowledgeable in your field.
Yeah.
Great.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Did you hire him?
I did.
Good job.
Thank you very much for being here.
Of course.
And
I have the next one too.
give Rich our best and keep it together, and let's hope we get a lot of momentum here, and you can do the highest and best use of your time and make things better.
I appreciate
Implement
that.
your vision.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry for the wait, though.
Yeah,
We'll move,
I appreciate your patience.
We'll move to
Patient.
Library and Barnes Museum now.
We're a two-person show.
That's okay.
So my name's Christine Michaud. I'm the new library director and director of the Barnes Museum. I started in early January replacing Tom Pietro. So, hello.
Hello.
Because the library and the Barnes Museum are of course under one organization, but they're very different types of organizations within that department. So I've invited the curator of the Barnes Museum, Christina Volpe, to tell you a little bit about what they've been doing, and then I'm going to talk about the library, if that's all right with you.
Yeah, sounds good, thank you.
Do you want to go first, Christina?
Whatever you like, yeah,
Sure.
sure thing.
Barnes Museum first.
I'll be quick. Sorry, my balance isn't great right now. Good evening, everyone. You're looking great. Good to be here. So what does the Barnes Museum do? We are the stewards of over 200 years of one home's history, but really within that is the history of Southington. So while the Historical Society does a great job of holistically telling the history of Southington, we bring that history to life through the material culture of the museum. So as I like to say, Mr. Barnes' things. And so we protect, interpret, and promote that history, and this was a really good year for us to do so with the publication of the Barnes Museum in Homestead with Arcadia Publishing. We also had a wonderful year for school groups, outside commitments, awards, and other things like that that I'm happy to answer about if you have questions. Something innovative that we do, the Barnes Museum is fortunate to be a cultural institution, and so we are often always looking for alternative ways to fund. I literally have a grant alert set in every email that I have. I'm always looking for new ways to go for grants that can either support the grounds, the museum itself, our programming, whatever we can do. And that does help to subsidize our budget, especially to offer innovative programs, free programs for children like the annual Easter egg hunt, the annual trunk or treat, an evening with Santa Claus, with Billy Hansen. So we're very fortunate to be able to do those things for everyone through those grants that we go for. A service that we provide that not many people know about is kind of twofold. One is physical. The grounds of the museum act as a micro park. They connect the Oak Street and Academy Street neighborhood where we are right now to downtown Southington. There are people coming through at all times because the gates are open. This is town property. And they respect it as such as well. Like, we are not a dog park, but people do walk their dogs. So it's a really great way to kind of create this path for the neighborhood to connect with downtown. And then the other one is interior. We help people do research. We connect them with appraisers. One of the biggest upticks this past year was doing research, both genealogy and on people's homes. How do I research my old house? Who lived here? How do I do it? And we're talking about workshopping that for the spring. We started to offer walking tours of downtown. This year we are expanding that to downtown Plantsville. So get your shoes ready. The first one's April 5th. I don't like to say it's a heavy walk, it's a stroll. We're going from Walkley Fountain to the Plantsville Congregational Church. So that's something that we do that people are kind of seeing what we do more. But I always say it's about us going out so that people will come into the Barnes. And then what are we most proud of? I'm so proud of my team's ability and passion for keeping this history alive, finding new ways to bring it to the community, getting people engaged and excited about boring old history. Southington really does have so much to offer in this regard, and I'm really excited to be researching grants and researching proper how Southington fits into the 250th anniversary of the American Revolution. And the Barnes Museum has some fascinating artifacts to contribute to that. And then I'm very proud of the publication of our first book. So when you go to CVS now, you'll see Liz Kopech's, History of Southington, and you'll see the Barnes Museum in Homestead, which really is a history of Southington through the museum's collection. I'm reading it sometimes, and even though I wrote it, I'm like, wow, this is pretty packed. I forget what I wrote. So that's what we do at the Barnes Museum. We help support other departments however we can, whenever we can. And I'm also just grateful to be here. Very proud to be a part of it.
You're definitely enthusiastic. I love that.
She tries. It's coffee. It's pure adrenaline coffee.
How many visitors to the Barnes Museum do you think are from out of town?
Oh, that's a great question. So we averaged about 350 last year, and that we include the numbers to our external events as well. So for example, I host a program that won an award this past year called History Pints, which partners with our local breweries to deliver history in place, which is really fun. Come Tuesday, we have one at Kinsman, 7 p.m. So people come to that from all over.
Tuesday, we had visitors from Maine with visitors from Canada with them. So they'll go to Cava, come to us, go to Factory Square, or they'll go to Pepper Pot, come to us, go to Factory Square. Like, we often try to capture that heritage tourism when they're in our town and steer them off to my favorite restaurants. They're all my favorite.
Right?
Right? From Anthony
They got
Jack's
food, they're good,
Fireplace.
yeah.
Yeah, it's all around here. So yeah, we do see, you know, for a small museum, a good amount, in my opinion.
They're also spending money in our town also, so,
Exactly.
thank you.
You're welcome.
There also is a line item for the 250th American celebration in your budget and the town council budget to help support whatever the town decides they want to do to celebrate that in a year and a half.
And I've been going to conferences and putting my thumb on all the grants that will be coming out to help municipalities in that regard, because as there's so many museums in the state, but there's so many small towns too, and we deserve a piece of that pie as well.
If I remember correctly, there's a trust for the museum? Is that still
The
active?
Barnes,
Yeah.
If there is, do you want to kind of talk about the structure?
Sure. The Norman H. Barnes Trust was established by Bradley Barnes to take care of the homestead. At this time, the homestead receives the interest from that trust on an annual basis, and we receive the statements monthly from the trust, so we know exactly how it's being invested, and we keep a record of that to ensure where it's going. There's another trust, the Bradley and Leela Memorial Trust, which is overseen by the Main Street Community Foundation, and that is strictly for mental health and behavioral health, and you'll see that was recently distributed at Bradley Memorial to help sustain some of their behavioral health initiatives. Two different trusts.
Was that show up in our income somewhere?
It's shown as a revenue. Right now, I don't believe we're still paying the roof off.
I believe so, yes.
So
That
there-
was prior to my time, but yeah.
Part of that is there's some debt due to the slate roof.
Yes, we have an original slate roof.
So some of that is being, I believe, funneled 100% right now to pay back the debt for the roof. So it's not hitting the budget. It's going to debt service.
It's not hitting the budget, okay.
Well, it's hitting the budget, but it's earmarked for debt repayment, specifically to the roof that was recently done about 2 years ago.
No,
How many more than that?
2011.
20.
Yeah.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
boy.
Time flies. That was
Wow.
well before my tenure at the
Still
museum.
paying.
I probably would have
It's a
approached
very
it differently.
Well, it was expensive, the
Expensive
slate
roof,
roof. It's a
yeah.
big
Right
roof.
now, our biggest challenge is painting, and we're working on that.
Thank you.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you
you
very
so
much.
much.
Just a few numbers for you to look at. So what the department does for the town, what the library does for the town, the library provides access to information to all Southington residents by lending physical books, downloadable ebooks and audiobooks, access to informational databases and reference services, and free access to the internet and public computers. Additionally, the library provides early literacy activities for children, homework support and other activities for school-age children and teens, and a range of informational programs for adults. And lastly, it provides a location for anyone in the town to work, study, and research topics of interest to them. Something innovative we did to control costs. Well, we built a new building, which might not look like controlling costs precisely, but the Library Board of Trustees did work very hard to bring in grants and donations that supported that construction, which definitely offset the financial burden on the town of Southington and the taxpayers. Going forward, I am actively looking at grant opportunities for the library to support our technology infrastructure, our strategic planning and programming initiatives. Most specifically, the Library Board of Trustees is beginning to work on a strategic plan. The last strategic plan ended with building a new building. So we need one going forward. I'm looking into specifically a capacity building grant from CT Humanities to support that strategic planning process. Something we do or a service you provide that many folks are not aware of. Many people are still not aware that libraries lend ebooks and e-audiobooks and streaming video. Even in the 21st century, people still think of the library as being strictly about books. And although books are obviously a key part of libraries and library services, we are very much in the digital sphere, and also very much a customer service institution. People come to us for help. We get a lot of questions for reference. We provide a lot of technological help to our less digitally savvy citizens. There will be people there all day, every day with technical help. And then there's research and other things like that. We also circulate a lot of non-traditional items. You can check out a Wi-Fi hotspot, you can check out a cake pan, all kinds of fun stuff. What are we most proud of? I'm extremely proud of how the library staff has handled the building process, the move to the new building, and the substantial changes in library staff and leadership. It's been a difficult year, and the staff continues to work every day to provide direct services to the citizens of Southington and support their informational needs. With regard to the budget, I was asked to bring in a flat budget, and we did that to the best of our ability. Staffing is down. Alex did. There is one staff position that is currently vacant that I would have liked to see filled, but is taken out of the budget here. I do need to say that a much larger building and losing a staff member is going to make things a little tight for us. But with regards to everything else, we have remained flat. The new building, in terms of building maintenance, there should be a lot less fix-it maintenance, but it is a much larger building and will require more ongoing cleaning and all that kind of stuff. We did increase the money for utilities. That is, almost entirely due to the cost of electricity. Everything else remains the same. Did you have any specific questions that I could answer about the library budget?
Can I just opine quickly on the staffing? So it's a reduction in head. We had the director of the Calendar House was promoted, and the adult programmer at the Calendar House was promoted to take over the Calendar House. That left a vacant position. That person did a lot of overlap and work with the programmer at the library. And there was a lot of desire for that library staff member to switch buildings, personnel issues. So that person has moved over to the Calendar House. They're working out of there. They should be doing the same functions. We did have two programmers in town. Now we do have one out of the Calendar House. So that's what Christine accurately described was the
But the position's supposed to serve both places.
It should be serving the town. Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
That position is now entirely out of Calendar House and is not providing any direct library services.
Do you find any savings with the new building, any more efficiencies that helps you out?
It's really hard to say just yet because we have only been open for 2 months now, and we're still finding those efficiencies. It should be a more efficient building. It should be more energy efficient. It should be more cost effective on a lot of things. It is also, however, quite a bit larger, and we're not sure yet exactly how that will offset. I have asked the architect and the construction directly to give me estimates, and they kind of threw up their hands and said, we're not really sure.
Estimates of,
What did
Cost
they say?
savings
I know
on,
that took the rip on it.
Can you talk about some of the complications of the newer technology, of the building technology?
it's a smart building, which provides its own, Mitch has been fantastic. Please let me tell you that Mitch has been, a lot of our trouble, his unfortunate trouble tickets have been coming from the library, and he has been enormously helpful. We do have, everything is online, so controlling the HVAC system, it requires logging in and setting things up, and setting all of those permissions up has taken some time. We do have that under control now. The door locking system is, the whole security system includes, video monitoring, door access, there's electronic, the doors lock up and unlock automatically, set on a time. There have been a number of, it's required some tweaking. We've had to, everything is under warranty, and even though we're in the new building, the building is not actually complete. We have construction crews still on site. We are working through punch lists and troubleshooting. Any new building is expected to have a kind of shakedown period, and we're still in that right now. We're finding things. None of it is insurmountable, and I don't think any of it is going to be a long-term issue as far as I can tell. But day to day, we're still fixing things.
I agree. It takes time to put a new building into it, what kind of use, and it's doing well down there. But I like to see the time given to get it straightened out so it works.
Yes, we are absolutely putting in the time to get
I
it.
know the town manager feels the same way. We got an awful investment there, but it's coming along very nicely.
It is coming, I believe it is coming along very nicely, and things are on track. The big complaint we're getting from people right now is about parking. That was an inevitable result of necessary sequencing. We could not put in the north parking lot until the old library came down. The old library could not come down until we had moved out of it. And the only options there are to move into the new building and then do the north end. Or, well, I guess there would have been another option to move into a secondary site, but that would have been far more costly and probably wouldn't have had parking anyway.
No, it is a very nice building inside there.
It's
I
lovely.
like the way it looks.
It looks lovely, and we are, in addition to the physical systems, the library staff and I are very much working on establishing policies and work procedures, because the different space has caused certain workflows that worked just fine in the old building because of where things were situated. It's a bigger building, things are farther apart. We're having to look at that. There's a lot more public meeting spaces, which is very much my understanding of what the town wanted, and that we're looking at that. But we have to put policies in place. So, how are they utilized? Who's responsible for? How do we sign them up? That's all being worked on, and it's all solvable. And I think we will have those things up and running. But it is something we're working on right now.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
It was a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you.
And come on by sometime. I'll give you a tour.
sure, thank you, might take you up on that. Okay.
Do you want to cover buildings and whatever it is?
Building and planning. I have a speech that was sent to me from the planner, so I'll just read it and then after that answer.
Yeah, that's good enough.
I'll talk
Name and address.
Alex Griffin on 75 Main Street. I'm gonna cover the building department and the planning. The building department, I crafted the budget, we were between builders, so I think it's appropriate that I do that and take, the heat for it. And also, the planner has the flu right now. Mr. LaValle has the flu, so he did give me some prepared remarks, which I'd like to just read to the board. Good evening, board members. I apologize for not being able to attend this evening, but it is out of an abundance of caution not to spread the flu virus to our respective town representatives and the public in attendance. Thank you, Alex, for standing in my spot. Having staffed the planning department in various roles, including acting director, assistant town planner, and inland wetland agent for 25 years, I am familiar with the operational needs of the department. We have a tremendous staff that includes a zoning enforcement officer that investigates blight complaints, ensures site compliance with the zoning regulations, staffs ZBAs as needed, as well as performs signage review and zoning permit inspections and approvals. Our ZEO also guides members of the public on our processes and requirements when they visit our office. We also have 2 administrative assistants that handle resident inquiries on a daily basis and process permits and bond information for the Zoning Board of Appeals, Inland Wetlands Conservation Commission, Open Space Committee, Farm Heritage Committee, Aquifer Protection Agency, and of course the Planning and Zoning Commission. The staff is the backbone of our department and it frequently offers suggestions on how to be more efficient. We have a strong spirit of teamwork that is reflected in our daily customer service interactions. In the spirit of efficiency and cost savings, we have worked our way towards a paperless department, providing options to file permits online. We've also researched FOIA statutes to ensure we meet the requirements for advertising public hearing notices, legal decisions, and various other notification procedures without repeating costly endeavors and trying to publish multiple times. In the same vein, we encourage residents to sign up for our registry for agendas so that if an item of interest comes up, they will be notified. The workload and variety of services we provide the residents of the town make for a very fulfilling work environment. Whether it is helping a homeowner locate a good spot for a shed on their property or working with them to preserve their land in perpetuity, we can service their land use needs from A to Z. It is very humbling to witness the love the residents have for the town of Sullyton. Many may not know that we staff the Farm Heritage Committee that has hosted the Farm Talks featuring Rogers Orchard, Cidery, Carabin Farms, and the Lewis Family Farm. We have hosted open space tours that have been sold out. You may also, I shouldn't say, he said sold out, but there were no costs, so I guess booked out. I believe Mr. Pocock drove the bus.
Oh, we paid him to do that.
No.
No?
There's times when I didn't.
You may also notice our chicken and goat friends at the Pleasant Street Open Space and Grosky Farms on East Street and Berlin Streets. We happily host them. The budget before you represents the minimum amount needed to provide the level of service to the passionate residents of Sullyton whom hold pride in their community at the highest level. I am in the position to see the difference our land use departments have made over the last 25 years through cooperation, smart growth principles, and open space preservation. Thank you for your time, David LaValle. I will just state that Mr. LaValle's budget is it's a level service budget, flat budget. The one thing I will say is we are looking for a new town planner. I was on the phone with Meriden City Manager yesterday. I was on the phone with Plainville City Manager, Town Manager 3 days ago. We all interview the same people, and we all offer them the same jobs, and it's very difficult. There's dozens of planning openings right now, so we are struggling to find a full-time planner. Happy to answer any questions regarding that department.
So the planner would be under the zoning department?
So the full-time planner is under the town manager, and they oversee the department that Mr. LaValle currently oversees. Mr.
Okay.
LaValle is the assistant town planner. He acts as the town planner if there's a vacancy at the top level.
And he didn't want to apply?
He's worked under 6 or 7 different planners. He's fantastic. He's been offered the job every time somebody leaves. He prefers to, I think, do what he does. He likes doing the work. He likes being the nitty-gritty, and he's very good at doing it.
I can appreciate that. So in the budget there's a salary wage for a planner, I assume?
There is.
And so, if we hire, well, We still got some time.
Try to find one.
So right now, there's several departments where I'll call it well under budget, where we're unable to find folks. So that's one department that we're very, very far under budget, because Mr. Harley left at the end of the summer. We've been working our tails off to try to find somebody, but it's close to 5 or 6 months now that position's been has not been filled. Mr. LaValle's paid the rate of the planner when it is 30 days or more of him taking the role. So right now we're saving Mr. LaValle's salary.
Right.
Happy to talk about the building department if there's no questions. So I'm not going to beat a dead horse. The building department has gone through some transformations over the last 8 months. I've appointed a new director of building 2 weeks ago, Mr. David Riccio. He came on post-budget, but he had some input in the budget. So if you read my letter, which accompanied the budget, this department does have salary reductions. And those are on a temporary seasonal line, which have been lowered, and that will affect 2 part-time positions. Mr. Riccio feels that those positions aren't needed at this time, so with the way the increases have been going, I thought it was prudent to make sure that we're not keeping folks on that are absolutely needed at this time. Otherwise, the building department budget is a level service budget where it does. I can talk about what it does. The building department is the overseer of building and safety for the town of Southington. The building official, the appointed building official, is the only person in Southington who can put a sign up on a building and create a situation instantly where nobody can go into that building and habitate that building without the penalty of being arrested. The police can't do that. The fire department can't do that. Nobody can do that. But if the building department feels that that is an unsafe structure due to an accident, a fire, a flood, he or she can post that notice instantly and that building becomes uninhabitable. That triggers community services a lot of times, because a lot of times these are rental properties. Under state law, if it's not the renter's fault for an issue of the building, the state requires the town of Southington to put somebody in a hotel or find them alternative housing at the town's expense. And there's money in the community service budget for us to do that, and we do that every year. We do have the ability to lien the prior residents, and we did start doing that when I came on as corporation counsel 2.5 years ago. Part of that, we just ate the cost, and we now are at least putting liens on those properties. So but the day-to-day, what they do is they review plans, they approve building permit applications, and then they finalize and inspect. That could be a house, that could be a new bathroom, a gutted kitchen, it could be absolutely anything. They're there to enforce the building code, make sure the building code's there. The building department is very focused on helping people get projects done and educating them on the best way to go about that. They're not looking to make things harder, put in roadblocks. If there's 3 different ways to meet code and the homeowner or the contractor doesn't know, the building official will walk them through, hey, you have options here. You ran into a roadblock, we can do 3 different things. One may be $10, one may be $100,000, one may be free. So we like to give options and help people pick the way they want to go. We're not looking to hold things up and slow them down. And that's really, they're doing a fantastic job. I will give updated numbers next Monday, but I'll give them to you right now. 6 weeks ago, we were over 12 weeks behind on inspections, plan review. I hired the Plainville building official come Fridays because they have Fridays off there. They only work a 4-day work week. He's still coming in. We also hired 2 other retired building officials to come in and work with us. One person who left and went to Enfield, we hired him. He worked remote for us as well. Right now, the new staff that's on board, every building permit application that's been filed in 2024 is within the 30-day deadline the state of Connecticut requires. We're actually within 2 weeks of anything filed this year. We're 2 to 4 weeks out for December 2024. In November, we are almost cleared out of all those. So we are still not in the state statute for some of those issues, but we are very close. We feel by March 1st we'll be in full compliance, and it is not a Southington issue. West Hartford is 6 to 12 weeks behind
Meriden was behind. They called a firm and spent tens of thousands of dollars and had outside consultants come in and just take over the department for 4 weeks. They were 16 weeks behind. So we're doing a really good job. And the folks down there are busting their tails out to do the right thing.
Is that from the new regime in there, or just,
I don't like the word regime. I just say the new building officials really focused on efficiency and making sure the code is enforced properly, and try to make the department run efficiently and cut a lot of wasted time out of whether that's planning, where the inspections are done. So for instance, one thing that he's done is when you build a house, you have the rough-in inspections. You've got the framing, mechanicals, electrical, plumbing, HVAC. Previously, we were doing an inspection for every single one. We would come do the framing, pass, fail, come do the electrical, pass, fail. And that would be 4 to 5 inspections, driving there and doing it. Right now, you're building a house, we don't want to come inspect until all the rough-ins are done, because we can see it all. It's, as long as you're not insulating, everything can be inspected, so we're there one time, and we'll spend 15% more time inspecting all of them instead of driving back and forth 5 times. And that's just increased our inspection rate 4 or 5 times over. So it's just small things like that, really thinking about how we're doing things, best practices.
well, I'm glad to hear it, because, I mean, when I hear bad issues about the building department, we know things are bad, because that's not my area of expertise, so, there was problems there, and you're fixing it, and that's fantastic, thank you.
The complaints have gone down, as far as I'm concerned. I consider myself everywhere. So if I'm gonna hear them,
Right.
I can't hide them.
Yeah.
You can't hide
Same thing, talking to
them. Joe's laughing down there.
No, I know, you hear it, I know.
But that's what, I mean, you get it, and.
I got
last
5 to 6
couple-
phone calls in 2024 every day. 5 to 6 calls I return on a daily basis.
Yep.
I haven't had one.
Those couple weeks, I mean, it might be longer, but I mean, it's nice to hear, let's put it that way.
It's been a lot of work. The staff they're working hard to catch up.
I mean, I didn't go down there to see the staff, but I mean, it was quite obvious that's
That
what.
was the only department that I've authorized unlimited overtime for, just because it was that important.
Okay,
Sounds good.
thank you, don't forget the phone.
Is that our last one?
Yeah,
That's it?
Chrissy, how you doing?